On the battlefield, Xiao Honglian used her fire abilities to incinerate the zombies, while commanding the group of soldiers to target the zombies' legs. Explosions echoed from all directions as the Bway Sect was engulfed in thick smoke and flames. The zombies, continuously set ablaze, screamed in agony. Unlike other bases that relied on modern weaponry, the people of the Bway Sect used only the most rudimentary tools to attack the zombies. They were fearless of death, ready to sacrifice their lives for the sect. While everyone was fighting on the front lines, enormous armored undead slowly advanced behind the zombie horde. There were fewer of these armored undead compared to the thousands of regular zombies, only a few hundred, but each one possessed combat abilities comparable to a mutant. Seeing the armored undead, Xiao Honglian felt a chill run through her. She remembered that these very monsters had torn apart her comrades. Xiao Honglian exclaimed, "One armored undead was able to shred my teammates. Now there are so many of them." Zhuge Qingting, astonished, said, "With so many armored undead, how are we supposed to fight them?" He had thought there were very few armored undead, but now hundreds had appeared. Xiao Honglian, with her eyebrows furrowed, shouted, "What are we afraid of? Whatever comes at us, we will kill. There's no turning back now, we can only fight to the end." The zombies fought with great intelligence. Initially, they used large beasts and regular zombies to wear down human forces. The elite force of the zombies, the armored undead, was kept in reserve. But they were unaware that on a high building, Jong Yi had chosen them as his targets. Jong Yi opened a spatial rift, reaching into it to retrieve his gun, murmuring, "Armored undead. Exactly what I need for an experiment." He switched to a heavy sniper rifle with specially crafted ammunition already loaded. From the balcony, he aimed at a massive armored undead with a triangular head. With a confident voice, he said, "With armor-piercing rounds in my sniper rifle combined with my abilities, let's see if we can take down that armored undead." Jong Yi's target was the armored undead's eyes. As he aimed, he said excitedly, "Give me some excitement." Boom! The sound of the sniper rifle reverberated behind the battlefield. The specially crafted armor-piercing round from the strongest space-type mutant in Tianhai City struck the armored undead's head with tremendous force. The bullet could not penetrate its skull, but once inside, it began to incinerate the armored undead's brain. The armored undead were clearly different from regular zombies. They had their own consciousness. The hit undead howled in pain, sweeping away dozens of nearby zombies. Jong Yi smirked, clearly satisfied with his success. Based on information from Liang Yu and Uncle Vu, he had a thorough understanding of the armored undead's defensive capabilities. He then conducted experiments based on this information to enhance his stealth attack abilities. The shot was so powerful that it could even penetrate the outer armor of a tank. His efforts were paying off. Seeing this, the other zombies and armored undead began to turn their heads, searching around. Jong Yi knew that the armored undead posed the greatest threat to human forces, so he focused on assassinating the armored undead hidden among the zombies. Jong Yi thought to himself, "Let's keep going. You think I can't find you if you hide?" Jong Yi changed the rifle barrel and meticulously aimed at the eyes of the armored undead. Boom, boom, boom. Amid the deafening sound of the sniper rifle, the tracer rounds cut through the night sky, causing each armored undead to fall before they even realized what was happening. This scene was witnessed by major powers. Just a second ago, they were terrified by the appearance of the armored undead, but in the next moment, they were astonished to see the undead being taken down by the man. Xiao Honglian and Wei Dingai were both amazed, unable to believe how the armored undead were being taken down in such a manner. They turned towards the direction of the bullets and saw Jong Yi holding a sniper rifle on a high building. Xiao Honglian and Wei Dingai could not hide their astonishment. Wei Dingai exclaimed, "Is this the true power of Jong Yi? It's fortunate that we are allies now." They couldn't help but recall the battle from 5 years ago, where Jong Yi had single-handedly caused significant trouble, making them afraid to show their faces. This time, Jong Yi's strength seemed even more formidable. Xiao Honglian couldn't help but whisper, "Jong Yi is truly a frightening man." Wei Dingai also remarked, "In the future, we should avoid conflict with him. Otherwise we might end up being silently taken down by him one day." On the Xingtian side, he rode a massive wolf with a resolute, unbreakable expression. He shouted, "Kill! White light began to emanate from his unyielding form, spreading across his body and to all the combatants behind him. Xingtian, holding a war hammer larger than himself, leapt from the wolf's back and struck fiercely at the zombies. The massive war hammer created a powerful shockwave, cleaving dozens of zombies in half. With their leader leading the charge, the others could not lag behind and also joined the fight against the zombies. The gigantic wolf leapt into the zombie horde, emitting an intense cold that froze a large area, turning the zombies into ice statues. With a powerful swing, the ice statues shattered into pieces. Among the 5 major forces, only the Qingpu base, with its passionate heroes, dared to fight zombies in this manner. If there was any place experiencing the least pressure, it was unsurprisingly Zhaoyu's base. Especially after the Battle of the 5 Armies, their combat effectiveness had been halved. However, on the snowstorm-ridden battlefield, Wei Dingai, the Lord of Ice and Snow, was truly formidable. Wei Dingai confidently declared, "I may not excel in direct combat, but in the realm of ice and snow, I am the king." Wei Dingai, clad in ice and bone armor, raised both hands. In front of him, within a range of several thousand meters, the thick layer of ice and snow beneath the ground suddenly shattered with a deafening noise. Thousands of zombies, caught off guard, immediately fell into the snow pits buried under the thick snow. With Wei Dingai's abilities, eliminating these miscellaneous troops was unexpectedly simple. Although these zombies could not be killed, their goal tonight was very clear: to slow down the enemy's advance, creating an opportunity for the investigation team to buy time. Wei Dingai controlled the battlefield with his hands, causing large patches of ice and snow to explode. His demeanor resembled that of a skilled conductor, making the entire icy realm dance gracefully and splendidly according to his hand movements. The density of zombies was extremely high. They fell into the snowy ground, struggling frantically, unable to escape in a short time. This significantly reduced the pressure on the allied forces during the fight. A member of the Bway Sect was also stunned by the appearance of the mutated rats. He quickly grabbed a knife and began slashing at them one by one. However, just as he killed one, another would swiftly charge at him. The mutated rat bit down hard on his shoulder with glowing red eyes. The Bway Sect member screamed in pain and, with all his strength, kicked the rat away, shouting, "Get off!" Jong Yi observed this and grew curious. The defenses of Bway Sect are so simple, practically non-existent. They have no tall walls, no iron nets, only the fearless believers and a large number of mutants. How can they survive for such a long time without being wiped out by the zombie army? It's puzzling, Jong Yi muttered as he changed the rifle barrel, taking out another armored undead in the zombie horde. Jong Yi was baffled by the sheer number of zombies. The quantity was enormous. He continued to eliminate several armored undead. Aren't the armored undead supposed to be smarter than regular zombies? Why is it that despite killing so many of them, they don't seem to be defending themselves? With such a large number, they could only follow simple commands. Was their command really to kill everyone here? The forces continued to block the advance of the zombie horde from the front, which was pouring in like ants. Meanwhile, Bian Junwoo and his team, as before, sneaked into the rear of the zombie army. They observed from afar, using satellites to monitor zombie movements. The number of zombies emerging from the subway tunnels quickly reached over 100,000 and continued to rise. Kong Sheng anxiously said, "How many people are in that group? Is it really more than 1,000,000? Kong Sheng looked towards the Bway Sect battlefield, sweating. Can they hold off the zombie attack for long? Wu Di, with a cold expression and arms crossed, replied, "Don't worry, for their lives, they will definitely fight to the end. As long as they give us some time to deal with the zombie kings. Even if they were all wiped out, it didn't matter." Wu Di didn't care about the lives of the people in Tianhai City. He only cared about completing his mission, stopping the spread of zombies and preventing them from expanding into surrounding areas. That was the most important thing for him and the Jiangnan region. Bian Junwoo did not oppose Wu Di but merely stood there with sunglasses and a cold expression, observing ahead. He said, "As long as we prevent the zombies from expanding, the few who survive or die are of no concern." Soon, in the deep subway tunnels, no zombies could be seen. He looked towards the distant area where the dense zombie horde was concentrating on the Bway Sect. Bian Junwoo said, Let's go, it's time for us to act. He instructed Meng Xiyu, use your abilities to investigate the situation below first. Meng Xiyu used her powers to touch the snow, and a stream of light emanated from her hand. She slowly observed the situation deep within the tunnel. Indeed, there were still many zombie kings, armored undead, and zombies inside the tunnel. After Meng Xiyu conducted her investigation, she concluded, there are some extremely terrifying zombies down there, along with quite a few armored undead. Bian Junwu said coldly, it's a trap. After being defeated once, they know that we would use this tactic. So these damned creatures are also planning against us. Wu Di, furious, added, these damned beasts are indeed calculating. Bian Junwu continued, the learning speed of the zombie kings is truly frightening. It seems their intelligence is not much different from that of humans. Baili Chongqing asked, so what should we do now? If the number of zombies underground is too great, it will be very dangerous for just the 7 of us to charge in. The key is that if we don't kill the zombie kings, all our efforts tonight will be in vain. Bian Junwu replied seriously, wait. Let them continue to hold off and attract even more zombies. Thus, the team did not rush to act but continued to observe. The pressure continued to mount for the allied forces. Although Jong Yi was providing support from afar with his sniper rifle, the sheer number of zombies was overwhelming, with an estimated 200,000 zombies on the battlefield. This did not include the annoying giant beasts. The fighting situation became increasingly intense. Jong Yi, observing the situation on the ground, had Liang Yu, Uncle Vu, and Shu Chunlei assist at the weak points. Hua Hua, as usual, stayed by Jong Yi's side. In many ways, Hua Hua was Jong Yi's most reliable bodyguard. It had strong close combat capabilities, agile movement, and defense comparable to a tank. With its presence, Jong Yi was not worried about sudden attacks. Moreover, escaping became easier. Jong Yi did not just focus all his efforts on fighting zombies. The most important thing was to ensure the safety of his team. Yuan Kongye stood before the suffering image of Jesus, her hands clasped tightly in prayer. The sounds of shouting and gunfire from outside were clearly audible here. The believers hiding in the church looked worried, their faces showing concern. However, Yuan Kongye maintained a calm expression, as if the events outside did not affect her. Zhou K'er sat in a chair inside the church, with a box of medicine beside her. Even though she did not believe in the faith, she silently prayed to the gods. She clasped her hands and whispered gently, "Oh, gods, if you truly exist, please protect Jong Yi and the others." Suddenly, a clear yet cold voice echoed above her. Only the most loyal followers receive the protection of the gods. Zhou K'er looked up, meeting the cold, bright gaze of Yuan Kongye. She felt the mesmerizing power of Yuan Kongye's eyes, as if they were drawing her in. "Hello, are you well?" Zhou K'er smiled, trying to break away from Yuan Kongye's intense stare. Yuan Kongye looked deeply into her, unexpectedly saying, "Are you feeling sad and worried because you can't help your man?" Zhou K'er was slightly taken aback by the exposure of her feelings. "Perhaps a little. I am a doctor, only able to work in the rear. I can't fight alongside him on the battlefield." Unexpectedly, Yuan Kongye's eyes became even more enigmatic, her voice filled with mystery as she spoke. "Perhaps you also have the potential to become a supernatural being." The words made Zhou K'er's heart race. Becoming a supernatural being was something she deeply desired. Although this feeling was not yet fully formed, her yearning for supernatural abilities had only intensified since Yang Mi awakened her powers. Previously, Zhou K'er had been an independent and self-reliant woman. With a good family background and excellent education, she had built a reputation in the medical field, becoming the chief physician at the top people's hospital in Tianhai City through her own efforts and family resources. But now, she felt her position beside Jong Yi was becoming increasingly insignificant, a reality she was unwilling to accept. Even though Jong Yi always treated her well, she knew he did not prioritize emotions. If one day someone better replaced her, the distance between her and Jong Yi would certainly grow. She realized she needed to think. Jong Yi is always progressing, what about me? Yuan Kongye's revelation of Zhou K'er's inner thoughts made her eyes flash. However, due to Jong Yi's earlier warning about Bway Sect, "Zhou K'er, you need to be cautious of Bway Sect. Zhou Kr was rather indifferent to Yuan Kongyi's words. Is that so? This is the first time I've heard someone say that. She smiled politely, but Yuan Kongyi continued with a friendly demeanor. Your potential is immense. You just lack the opportunity to become a supernatural being. Believe in yourself, you have the potential. Zhou K's heart began to stir. Indeed, those around her could become supernatural beings, so why couldn't she? She had previously thought that becoming a supernatural being required extreme conditions, needing to risk one's life. Failure meant death, and she didn't have the courage for that. But the appearance of the ice fragment had opened a new path for her. Yuan Kongyi stared intently at Zhou Kr, her clear, icy gaze carrying an indescribable allure. Just looking into her eyes made one feel overwhelmed by a powerful force, unable to resist obeying her commands. Zhou K's heart raced as Yuan Kongyi offered her the chance to become a supernatural being. The thought was tantalizing, especially considering her desire to help Jong Yi and the fear of being left behind. Yuan Kongyi's eyes were captivating, and her words seemed to promise something transformative. Yet, the warning Jong Yi had given her about Bway Sect echoed in her mind. After a brief moment of hesitation, Zhou Kr regained her composure. She gently pushed Yuan Kongyi's hand away and replied with a calm yet firm tone, "I don't think I truly need that." Her response was a reflection of her inner strength and her resolve to remain cautious despite her desires. Yuan Kongyi's eyes flickered with a hint of disappointment, but she remained composed. "It's up to you. If you change your mind, seek me out. The blessings of the divine are opportunities that not everyone gets." With that, Yuan Kongyi turned away and resumed her prayer before the statue, leaving Zhou Kr to contemplate her decision. As the sounds of battle outside grew more intense, Zhou Kr, along with the others in the church, could only pray for the survival of the frontline forces. The din of battle and the horrific sounds of the zombie horde were relentless, and despite their prayers, the situation seemed increasingly dire. Meanwhile, outside at Bway Sect, the battle had reached a fever pitch. The zombie army, with over 20,000 strong, was encircling Bway Sect from all directions, launching a ferocious assault. The defenders, using every available method, firepower, traps, supernatural abilities, and hand-to-hand combat, fought desperately to hold their ground. They knew retreat was not an option. They were surrounded, with no way out but to fight to the last breath, buying time for Beyond Junwoo and his team to locate and deal with the enemy's core. The battlefield was a chaotic scene of blood and gore. Zombies, even when severely injured, continued to crawl forward. Human soldiers, armed with powerful weapons, could kill hundreds of zombies each, but one lapse in vigilance could lead to being overwhelmed. The sheer number of zombies posed a grave threat, and the giant beasts that could breach defenses only compounded the danger. Casualty rates had already climbed to 30%. Xiao Honglian, struggling to maintain the defense, communicated via radio with Beyond Junwoo. "We're on the brink of collapse here. How are things on your end?" Beyond Junwoo's voice was cold and composed. "We're close to finding the Demon King. Hold on a little longer. Results will come soon." On a high rooftop, Jong Yi muttered to himself, "I need to wipe out all these armored zombies." Without hesitation, he used his sniper rifle to eliminate nearly all the armored zombies. His formidable combat skills significantly eased the pressure on the Allied forces. It could be said that he single-handedly reduced at least one-third of the pressure on the Allied forces. Without his intervention, the inclusion of these armored zombies would have rapidly overwhelmed humanity's defenses. In the following 20 minutes, the Allied forces continued to fight and retreat. Each time they fell back, they set up additional traps, igniting burning materials and explosives to eliminate large numbers of zombies. Observing Liang Yu, Uncle Vu, and Shu Chunlei using their powers to the fullest, Zhong Yi silently reassured them, "I'll leave the other zombies to you.